Hey guys, Dr. S here. Happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day. Um, I'm sure there won't be a lot of people to pop on because I know it's right in the middle of most traditional church times. For those of you who know me, I attend Pillar of Fire Church at 826 Union Boulevard, and we don't have service until 2, so I have a few minutes before I have to head out and attend service. I'm very excited about that. Before I left though, and before I got back home and got tired and just failed to do this, I wanted to pop on really quickly. So Dr. S here, dropping nuggets you didn't know you needed. And as always, it's my hope and prayer that they will help you be your best you. The reason why I wanted to share my thoughts, this nugget, this story time, is because I don't think I talk maybe ever, and if I do, very little about my father. I do the obligatory Happy Father's Day post on Facebook, shout out to my uncle and my cousins and, my brother-in-law, people I know who are dads. But I don't think I ever really talk about my father. And so that was why, if you saw my post earlier today, I said, Father's Day this year hit a little different. I pray that fathers get what they need, and those of us who need our fathers get what we deserve. When I share on Mother's Day, I talk about how that can be a tenuous time for some, and you all may hear Snoopy in the background. He's outside, so he's being extra. I talk about that it can be a challenge for some because we've lost our moms who are no longer with us in the physical, though we know that they're, in our hearts forever. And Father's Day can be a little different. Obviously, if there are those who have lost their fathers in the earthly realm, I'm praying for you today. I know, obviously anytime losing a parent, whether it's a mother or a father, is difficult and can be challenging. So I definitely want to acknowledge that. The other kind of loss that I want to talk about briefly is the loss of when your father. Now, I know that there are some moms who are not in the picture for various reasons, so I'm not disregarding that. We just know that statistically speaking, like my glasses so pretty, that, there tends to be more single parent homes where that single parent is a mother. And whether the father is just choosing not to be present, there are some, other reasons that they're not present, incarceration, substance use, whatever the case may be. That's a different type of loss, right? And it can make Father's Day challenging, right? So if your biological parent or your father, if the person you identify as your dad just isn't around, it's hard. And that can affect kids, male and female, in a lot of different ways. And I know we talk about it a little bit, but it's challenging. So again, want to be mindful of time. So part of the reason why I have seldom, if ever, talked about my biological father is because he was not actively in my life. My parents got divorced at when I was very young, to the point that I didn't know who my biological father was. I met him when I was 6, but it didn't cement in my mind that he was my real dad because my stepfather was in my life. I didn't get a true understanding that he was my dad and what that meant, biologically, until I was 8. I saw him sporadically, when I was 12, 13. Then I didn't see him again until I was almost 30. And when I saw him at almost 30, it was because I made a conscious choice to reach out to him because I was like, I'm about to be 30. I need to prove that I'm good. And so I saw him then, and then I have not seen him since, and I have not spoken to him probably until recently, but I'll get to that. in like the past almost 10 years. He's alive. He's well. He lives in Georgia. I knew where he was, but I just had no reason. I felt I had no reason to communicate with him. But in the past few months, I don't know if it is age. I don't know if it's, I would like to think it's healing. Obviously, it's the Lord. I felt a nudge in part. Shout out to Dr. MC who shared just something about reconciliation at the fourth annual Roar Like a Lioness conference. And when she shared, I said publicly, that makes me think about my dad. Maybe I need to reconcile with him. And I said it, but I didn't move forward with it. What I did do was reach out. I have several siblings on my dad's side, 3, one of which I know. She's also in Georgia. I reached out to her and was like, hey, do you ever talk to any of our dad's family? And she was like, yeah, there's a sister that I communicate with. I was like, feel free to give her my number. Next day, this aunt who I've never spoken to, I'm 50, y'all, who I've never spoken to, never seen a day in my life, called me. And when I tell you, it was like she's known me all my life. She was like, I met you when you were in the baby in the high rise in Chicago. And it was just so refreshing. I don't know what I thought was going to happen. I have thought over the years about trying to find my family. I knew my dad came from a large family, so come to find out he's one of 15. I knew he came from a large family, but I had no way, to my knowledge, of connecting with them. But it was such a relief, like the anxiety that I had felt about thinking about reaching out to this extended family who I have no clue, like I could be walking past them. They could be my next door neighbors and I have no clue. But it was such a relief that I was like, okay, good. So, talk to her. We exchanged pictures. I'm, going to plan to go visit at Thanksgiving. They live in Wisconsin, where Parker and I were 2 years ago, and, could have met them in, nevertheless, didn't know. So that was just like, really, I'm like, okay, God, I see what you're doing. So maybe a month goes by and she calls me and she's like, hey, so your dad was wondering if I could give him your number. And I'm like, oh, my number ain't changed in 20 years, but it's okay. I was like, actually, I've been meaning to call him. I'm going to call him. So very quickly, and I could do a part 2 to this if, people watch the replay and or have questions. I'm pretty much an open book. So part of the reason I had not contacted him is just, yeah, that would have to be a part 2. But I was nervous, right? I was nervous. I wasn't sure how the conversation was going to be. It usually didn't go in a way that felt good to me internally and emotionally. And so I just didn't want to do it. But I was like, reconciliation. So I called and we talked for like an hour, and it was very different than how our conversations had gone in the past. And again, I don't know if on his part, if it's age, life circumstances, what's going on. It was just different. And, we talked and we caught up and it was pleasant. I'm planning to go to Georgia in a couple of months to see him, because again, I haven't seen him in 20 years at this point. We also exchanged pictures. And so when we got off the phone, and I feel myself getting emotional. When we got off the phone, he said, I love you. And I said, I love you back. And I meant it. Now, years and years and years and years ago, when I was in my teens and he would call and he would get off the phone and he would say that, I would be like, okay. And he would get upset. But I'm like, I don't know you. Don't be mad at me. Because I can't and won't, or I could, but wouldn't say it. But it was like in that moment, like in that phone call, in that conversation, in that dialogue, and as we ended the call, that I was like, God, you are faithful. And so I share this to say, I know our dads aren't always good people, and I know they don't always do good things, and I know that it can create a hole that we don't always know is there. But there is something about forgiveness and reconciliation that heals us, right? Now, I don't know that me and my dad are going to be best friends. I'm not expecting him to apologize for the things that he did in the past that led to the rift that was there. I'm not, expecting him necessarily to be an active grandfather towards Parker. But whatever it is, whatever the hole was that was there before, is not there anymore. And that heals me. I am better because I was like, you know what? It is what it is. And I let that go. I let that anger and the animosity and that unforgiveness and that expectation of what a dad should be, I let that go. And now whatever this is, whatever he and my relationship is, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay. And that's good. That's good enough for me. Now, that might not be your testimony. Might not be how it works for you. I just wanted to share that because I know what it feels like to not have a dad in your life. And I know what it feels like to make decisions based on what that looks like. And now I can share the process, the beginning journey of what this reconciliation looks like for me in my life. So I just wanted to share that. I didn't mean to start crying and I went over my time. But to those of us who are dealing with those daddy issues, daddy wounds, daddy traumas, some of them might be, or very possibly bad enough that you never want to talk to them again. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying go do that. What I am saying is whatever level of forgiveness you need to do for yourself to be healed, do that. Same holds true for moms, but it's Father's Day. So whatever healing you need to do for you, I strongly encourage you to do it because time is drawing nigh, and tomorrow is not promised. So if y'all want me to do a part 2, I'm happy to do that. But I gotta skedaddle and blow my nose and wipe my eyes because I wasn't expecting that, and head on to church. So I love you guys. I pray that you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Again, happy Father's Day to the dads out there, and I will talk to you later. Be blessed. Dr. S.